We've got everything following the ship now, so it looks when we play the game that we're not actually moving at all, but that's because we have no points of reference. So in this session we're going to put in some points of reference, and what do you find in space but planets. Now, to start off with, I've created some pictures in GIMP of different planet surfaces. I've just made splodges, really. It's quite easy to do. I've even got a fractal one. And so we're going to make some planets around the place. And this is simple itself. So I'm going to create a 3D object and a sphere. That's going to be my basic planet. And I'm going to look at this from above. Now, I don't want the planet to interfere with the game, so I'm going to send it a long way away. Now, I happen to know that the space dust is at 40, so I'm going to put this out at 70. And as we're looking at the ship, I can see a distant planet there. It's a bit too small, so I'm going to increase the size, say 8. Okay, that's not a bad planet size. I'm going to name it Planet. Then all I'm going to do is decorate the surface of the planet with one of my images. So let's try the terraform one. So I'm simply going to drag it onto the planet icon, and there it is, a planet. And now if we play the game, we've got a fixed point of reference, so when the ship moves, the planets move. And one small thing to make this more realistic, let's make the planet rotate. So here's the planet. I'm just going to add a component, and it's going to be a script, and it's going to rotate planet. Remember, no spaces, and I'll create and add that. Now, while it's warming up here, remember that the y-axis is vertical, so we'll have this planet rotating around the y-axis. Remember, that's also vector 3 up. Right, here we are. Rotate planet. Let's edit that script. Right, so I'll put in a public float, and I'll call this R speed for rotate speed. I'm going to put nothing in the start, just the update, which is for simplicity itself. I'm going to create a new vector 3, and I'm going to call this Y rotation. I'm going to make that vector 3 dot up. Remember, that's the y direction upwards, and I'm going to multiply that by r speed, and I'm going to scale it down by time dot delta time. And then I'm just going to put in transform dot rotate y rot. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Let's just check the code, make sure everything's okay. Fine. Quite difficult to make a lot of mistakes in such a short piece of code. And then it's going to turn up here. Now, we've got it rotating around the y-axis, so we'll leave that alone, but we could sort of tilt the planet using the x or the z. Right, so it's incorporated this, so let's try a rotation speed of say 25. Let's have a look at our planet now. And there it goes. That looks quite planet-like, doesn't it? So that's going to be our one point of reference, but we'll need a few more than that. So it's probably a good idea to turn this planet into a prefab. So just take the planet and drop it into the prefabs folder, and then I can reuse it. But now we've got our planet prefab, I can drag more planets in, so I'll just put one in the planets section and move that across. I don't want an identical Earth, so I can customize it. So for example, I can put on a new texture. I can change the name, but it doesn't really matter. I can change the size. So Jupiter's pretty big, so make that 12. I can change the rotation speed. I can change the rotation. I can also change the height, so it's on the y-axis. I can move it up or down. Remember, space is supposed to be three-dimensional. Now I've got 2 points of reference. Of course, what we have to do now is to create more planets. So I'll pause the video while I populate my solar system. So I've got 7 planets in my solar system. Now let's see what difference that makes to the game. There, so now we've restored the sense of movement. We can orientate ourselves in our own little universe. Excellent. So the next thing we need to do is to find some enemies to fight.